We're
Yo
here.
Munir.
It's like everything old is new again.
It feels different.
I know. Every once in a while, it's nice to just reflect a little bit, maybe. And I am excited by having a theme as our guest this week. I think that's brilliant. It's
I was
kind of like,
actually hoping you were going to say pause. You said reflect, and I was hoping you were going to say pause.
no,
That's
okay. All right. Well, pause is good. You've appropriately recognized the value of pause. We've brought that up recently with a few people. The white space, the times where the in between become really creative. And yeah, I was actually going to talk about Sex in the City and the fact that New York City was the character in the show, but that's
I love it. I love it. That's very much like this episode. I was just going to say, do you know what else gives you time to pause and reflect?
going on the road,
Traveling.
traveling. Oh, I love how you do that.
Yo Munir. Creativity. The happiest guys on the internet. What's going on, brother? Yo Munir.
Welcome to Yo Munir, a show celebrating practice and creativity, hosted by the happiest guys on the internet. I'm Rob Haddad, a former producer and director who spent his career in sports, media, and technology.
And I'm Munir Haddad, co-founder and CEO of award-winning advertising agency Kiosk, and a firm believer in stakeholder capitalism.
Munir, on today's show, we're welcoming a very special guest. And by guest, we mean theme. And that's summer travel. 'Tis the season. You know, we thought it important to provide a little bit of context or some additional context as to why we are the way we are, but also what's important in the connectivity of creativity and practice to things that we might take for granted. This week, we're going to talk about the importance of summer travel. Some history. Munir was born in England and emigrated to Queens, New York, when our dad was asked to open up North America operations for his job. I joined the family a few years later, and 18 months after that, dear old dad was asked to move back to Beirut during the Lebanese Civil War. And it was for an indefinite period of time. As you can imagine, this created a tremendous amount of uncertainty. It also meant Munir and I spent our summers traveling to London and Beirut to visit family and friends. They were exhilarating trips, even as fighting escalated in Beirut during those notorious years in the 70s and 80s. They were formative. English culture was in sharp contrast to our lives in Beirut. Never mind the fact that we had to concern ourselves with this civil war and the threat of machine gun fire or bombs dropping in the sea or being kidnapped. There was family exuberance that existed in Beirut that wasn't present in England, even amongst Haddad family that were there. This emphasis on family would frame later summer travel. Weddings, so many weddings of friends and family in the States, road trips to Montreal, Pittsburgh, Martha's Vineyard, and choosing the music of those drives is also the framework of our mixtape segment on our show. So today we're talking about summer travel with that context in mind. So welcome.
Hey, that is fantastic. I could just sit back and watch you work.
Wow.
I'm excited to see how or hear about how your experiences with travel are the same and also different from my own.
Yeah.
Because as you have suggested about kids not having the same parents, you also, as an individual, don't have the same experiences, even if you're right next to each other. So
There's one experience I'm already thinking of, Munir.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, you gonna let me in on that one?
Well, first things first, as we
Okay.
usually do, we start with kind of our guest origin story. And I'm wondering if you have an early childhood memory of traveling and what did that consist of?
So, it was really as a kid, it wasn't that bad to travel. Because dad worked for an airline back in those days. Oh, those days. Boy, they sound old. But it really
First,
was back in those days. The airlines would look out for each other's employees, and they would provide free travel or travel vouchers for people that worked at different airlines. And so we had to fly standby, which was sometime like I do remember going to the airport and not getting on a plane and having to go back home.
well, you do.
I do. But I also remember, also going to the airport in the morning and not getting on flight 1 or flight 2 or flight 3, but getting on flight 4. But
Wow.
when we got on the flights, because we were again industry passengers with a travel voucher from an industry, they used to treat each other really nicely. And oftentimes we got to fly first class.
Whoa.
Whoa. And, when you're going transatlantic on a plane out of New York, it was a 747 and the upstairs, now they have seats. Back then it was the whole thing was a bar. And I remember wandering up there probably like 8 years old or so, because, there's only so much a parent can do to entertain you. And we will talk about how our mom's planning for travel in an age where there weren't devices. You had one movie, maybe two, and it may or may not be interesting to a kid. Uh, and the earphones were like, tubes, like actually, like they piped the sound
That's
through a
right.
tube into your ear. And so, she did a lot of planning. She bought books and puzzles, and we were allowed not too many toys, but some toys that we would play with on the plane, like silly putty, like things to just keep us occupied on a 5 to 6 hour flight. And then it got broken up. Like, because if you went all the way to Lebanon, it was about 13 hours in total, but we would usually get it broken up with a stop in England where we just stop and spend time with family. But that planning caused me, I'll speak for myself, to have an appreciation of like, how do you entertain yourself? How do you got to be creative about making things interesting. You would have to also be creative about engaging your parent in playing something with you if you wanted to play a game, or your brother who may not be interested in the same things that you are. Or you get allowed to go wander up the spiral staircase into the bar in the 747 and sit down to your new friend who was this Scotsman who was getting hammered at the bar. And I remember my new friend getting carted off because he'd fallen off his chair.
My God.
And they walked him back down to his seat. And I'm like, oh, they're taking my friend.
No way, dude.
Way. Yeah.
It's so
I
funny.
think
I
they
remember.
even had to he was so hammered. I think they had to tie him to his seat. But he and I were having a grand old conversation up at the bar, talking about, places we traveled and things that we liked and world
Wow.
politics for whatever I knew about it. And he was amazed to see an 8-year-old, but he didn't care because he was there on a mission and I was more entertaining than anybody
That's
else.
right.
So,
Someone who would listen to him.
and absorb, like, I was like, this is great. Tell
Maybe
me
some of his
more.
kin were over here for the World Cup.
Maybe the Tartan Army in full effect.
It's interesting because I remember you asking Elizabeth, who was a great guest of ours,
Yeah.
if she was anxious, if there was a lot of anxiety associated with some of her travel with her family.
Yeah.
And does that come from a place of remembrance? Do you remember mom being particularly anxious about prepping for these trips, or were you just from your own experience as a parent?
Yeah, that was more my own experience as a parent. I think, when we were in it, I would have a certain amount of anxiety from having to pack for 2 months cuz I would worry that, I'm not going to have all my toys and,
Right.
you got to we talk about creative constraints. You could only carry so much in a bag, in a suitcase. And even though we were small and our clothes were small, you still had stuff and you wanted your stuff with you. And because, at that age, it's like 2 months is a significant portion of your life. So there was some thought process and maybe, anxiety might be too strong a word, but maybe.
Yeah.
And then because we were going to a war zone, there was some anxiety.
Talk about constraints.
Talk about constraints. That's a whole, like, we'll get to this,
No,
or maybe
we're in it. Let's talk
we'll go
about it.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you got to Beirut, Lebanon, and I say if because sometimes the airport wasn't open. And so if you got there and arrived, sometimes the airport would then close. And then you started to be concerned about whether you'd get home or whether you'd have to evacuate. And there was a moment where we arrived in Beirut, the airport closed. Dad was not in Beirut because he had moved the operations of the company to the United Arab Emirates where it was safer. And our uncle Nabil was in the apartment with our grandfather. We will call Jiddo because that is what the Arabic culture calls granddad. It's just a word for granddad. And Nabil was like, I'm going to go sleep at the airport because when it opens, I'm off on the first plane. And
Wow.
mom had two young children who were probably that year we were probably 12 and 7. And she's like, yeah, but what about? And he's like, yeah, see ya.
Wow.
Yeah. And, granddad, Jiddo was like, I live here. This is just what happens.
Right.
But I can't remember how it quite panned out, but we did get the call probably from Nabil because he was at the airport saying, "Get over here now.
Mm,
They're opening the airport and you're going to get on this Middle East Airlines flight to Dubai, but you got to get here like now."
right.
And
Wow. I don't remember that at all.
that's it.
Holy shit.
Holy
I
holy
just,
cow.
I remember being in Sharjah. I don't remember how
Yeah.
we got there.
That's yeah, well, and so there was another, I can't remember whether maybe dad came back to get us. I can't that's getting that
Yeah.
memory's a little bit fuzzy because there was another time where we were talking about maybe this was the trip prior to the Sharjah trip. There was another trip where we were talking about evacuating because the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, had come up to the southern borders of Beirut, and so we were looking to hit the exits, and the discussion was a drive to Damascus, Syria, which was fraught with complications because you're driving through contested territory where there's a war going on. But from Damascus, you could get international flights out. Or the other thing on the table was getting on a cruise ship to Cyprus. And
Cyprus.
I remember like hoping for that option because it's like, I'd love to go on a cruise. I hear it's
Sounds
really
great.
nice.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening then is the airport opened up and we were able to get a flight out. But some of those memories start to jostle together.
Sure. For me, and maybe great job for protecting me from that. Really, the only things I remember were the concern over kidnapping, since that was a prevalent tactic. And our driver would communicate that with us too, in terms of where we would go. Taxi driver.
Yeah,
to be clear.
Yeah, I was about to say he was the guy at the corner.
Yeah.
Michelle.
He was always there.
He was always there. Yeah.
He would share updates from the field, as it were.
Oh, absolutely.
And make suggestions on whether we should go to Baalbek or Byblos.
Right.
For some of our
Baalbek always know
sightseeing. But even from those visits, you could hear the machine gun fire, the bombs. We would be at the beach and the Mediterranean and see bombs dropping, and knowing that that was time to leave the beach. But having no electricity and running water, which were common occurrences, meant that we had to be creative in terms of how we occupied our time.
For sure.
I remember one of the games that we used to enjoy playing was flashlight tag. And we didn't have air conditioning in Beirut, and so we had terraces in our apartment, balconies, and the doors were garage doors, so they would come down or raise up. And so we were playing flashlight tag one evening with those doors raised up, and our mother came running in saying, "Stop, you're going to signal the snipers."
Yes.
And that's like, as a kid, you're like, whoa, there are snipers out there? That's crazy. But to me, that was amazement and wonder, without really comprehending what that meant. And to our mother, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
And she was serious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
So
by the way,
that meant flashlight tag was not a game we could play.
Flashlight tag was not a game we could play. But, you do start to, again, it means more creativity when flashlight tag's off the table. Yes. By the way, Mom and Dad had an air conditioning unit in their window, as did Uncle Nabil, as did Shiddo.
No way. I just remember an oscillating fan. I don't remember them having windows.
You did not. Yeah. Well, we did not have air conditioning because we were kids.
I just needed the racetrack.
Nor did we have screens, which meant we got eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Yeah. I do remember the carcinogens next to us that were the peel back mosquito bombs that you could place next to your child's head.
Right.
That explains a lot.
It does. Absolutely. That's why I have no hair.
But it also meant we had to work on our own relationship as children.
We did. We did have to work on we shared a room. We had to share toys. We had to share company, and find things to do together.
You're a great big brother. Still are.
Ah, you sweet talker, you.
Older brother. Yeah,
right. Okay. For those people who have not been paying attention to our Guess Who's Older quiz.
Right.
Yeah, we had to come up. We had to play game. Well, I mean, we didn't have to play games. We games. You didn't have electricity, so you had to figure out what to do with your time. And you could read a book with a flashlight, or you could play games. And card games or sometimes it was building stuff. And sometimes it's building stuff with cards when you got sick of playing card games.
It's true. Good point.
Or dominoes, you do the little domino courses and knocking things down.
Yeah.
It's travel gives you a new sense of wonder, new food, new experience, which generates creativity. You have constraints, which generates creativity and problem solving. And the lack of, the dopamine rush required then being internally able to figure out how to create enjoyment or create things. And it was always a constant. Boredom was not boredom was not an acceptable state. Or actually, boredom was an acceptable state, but you had to live with it. But you just had to live with your boredom.
Yeah.
And that makes you comfortable with yourself, right?
Yeah. It reminds me of people who campers, people who
Yeah.
go out into the woods and pitch
Yeah.
a tent and sleep under the stars.
Yeah.
Although that is not something our family does, I can appreciate the values of vacationing or summering or living even that way, in the flexibility that it requires of you as a human, but also the preparedness that it requires of you to experience life that way.
Well, the other thing is the capacity to problem solve, right? Because even if you're prepared, inevitably when you're camping, something goes wrong or you've forgotten something and you got to figure out how to fix it. My family, at least three of the four of us would go camping. And we did enjoy having to figure those things out. And, if you go car camping, it's a lot easier because they provide some entertainment, usually, a pool and sometimes a very large, like inflatable thing that you jump on top of. And
Oh, really?
if you've ever been to a KOA campground, you will know what I am talking about.
Oh my gosh. But it
Yeah.
also, these trips also explain a lot of our approach to relationships, the value of family and friendships. And a lot of people that we spent the most time with were friends. They weren't blood relatives,
Yeah.
but you would know the difference. These were
Right.
the most sincere and deepest relationships that you could have, mainly because you've lived in a number of different lives together and survived
Yeah.
strife.
Yeah.
But it really frames who we are today, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, and you're coming from a tiny, those families came from an area where they were interrelated and sometimes intermarried, maybe not, like sisters married that person and that person. And so while we were not blood relatives, there was connection between some of the families that you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
you're right in terms of growing up together and moving from Haifa to Beirut, and
yeah. But the other thing about at least Beirut, and different cultures, like the culture in Beirut was you would just show up at somebody's door and you would kind of walk by. It's like the stoop culture, you walk by and before you know it, you have a beverage and some food. And even if you were not expected, and that's like part of the culture is like if you show up, you are given hospitality. Even if there's nothing to eat, you create something for
yeah,
these people to have when they're there. And then, they'd stay forever and play cards with the families or bridge or what have you, and or talk. And there was talking became an art as well as a practice.
it's a great point. Yes, yes, the art of arguments,
The art of arguments, not arguments, Rob, discussions.
discussions.
Ah, discussions.
This reminds me of the Sebastian Maniscalco bit about company.
Oh, I
He's
don't know
like,
it.
back in my day when we grew up, your mother would have an Entenmann's on the table, and she'd make sure when she brought it home from the grocery store, she'd say, "Nobody touch that Entenmann's. It's for company." Because what did you do? You said, "Oh, you're in the neighborhood. I was just stopping by." It's like these days, if somebody comes to your door, everybody gets down. They're like, "I'm not home. Don't answer the door." You text or call somebody when you're in the driveway. Like nobody just comes by and says, "I was in the neighborhood." Like it's a tremendous bit, and probably what he's most well known for. But to your point, you had to be prepared for company.
Yeah. I have a story about that is not necessarily a road trip. It's just from a different place in the US. So I was living in Chicago and I lived in a neighborhood that was adjacent to a Hispanic neighborhood, and I had a TV from our parents. I had a TV from 1976 that blew up. It didn't work anymore. And related to this time of the year, it was a World Cup. And there was a US-Mexico game on that I wanted to watch. And so I got outside. I was getting on my bicycle and I looked across the street from my apartment and there was a big TV in a garage. And so I stuck my head in and I'm like, "Hey, can I watch the game with you?" And before I knew it, I was on a stool. They'd kicked some little kid off a stool. I had a cerveza and a taco. And they're
Oh my
like,
God.
"We're sorry, but we're going to be rooting for Mexico." I'm like, "That's okay. I'm English." And I stayed the whole game. I was part of their family for 90 minutes. And I said the same thing that your comedian said. I said, if I had walked into in Chicago, if I'd gone to like Wilmette or Kenilworth or
Right.
Winnetka and walked into somebody's garage, they would have shot me and asked questions later.
Right.
Instead, I was on a stool with a cerveza and a taco.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The values of traveling.
The values of traveling, the values of appreciating people.
Yeah. No, it definitely gives you that perspective on culture and language and how to communicate, right?
How to
Even if you-
communicate.
Yeah. How about that?
How about that?
Munir, one of my favorite things about these travels was actually spending that summer in Sharjah, which is one of the Emirates. And we stayed at a Holiday Inn that had a pool that we could swim at every day. But they also had a game room, or maybe Dad's company had turned the top floor into a game room because
No, that game room was there. That actually that one was there. Yeah.
that they had lock and chase. And
They had,
we
they had a
would,
number of video game like stand-up video game
yeah, the stand-up
coin
video games.
operated. They
We
had-
ended up doing a tournament, a lock and chase tournament, if I recall.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right.
No, I
don't
feel like the
remember how.
parents were involved in this too. No?
There was Galaga. That was the big
Oh.
one. And some of the parents who may even be some of our parents, Dad, were like on the high score table and would like, they wanted to be on the high score table because
Right.
they were all competitive and they had a lot of time on their hands because they were away from home.
I thought for sure they just played backgammon and cards. And I know Merit Cigarettes sponsored a backgammon tournament at the hotel.
That Dad organized.
There you go. Did he
you know
get the
that?
sponsor?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I mean,
That-
the heritage and history of our family in advertising is like it goes deep.
Amazing. Well, Merit, if you're still out there,
There you-
another backgammon tournament would be a fun time.
There you go.
Let's see, Merit cigarettes. It's an American brand. Did you know that?
Yes.
Philip Morris. How about that?
Yes.
The picture is Egyptian pack of Merit cigarettes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're
That's
listening to
real.
you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Since its introduction in 1976.
Oh, no way. It's that young?
1976.
Wow.
Look at that. Philip
How about
Morris
that?
has created many poster and billboard adverts to promote Merit as a low tar alternative. Look at that. Maybe that's why they were eager when Merit Ultralights were introduced in 1983 when we were in the UAE. The
Yeah.
advertising program had an $80 million media budget.
There you have it. And some of that media budget went to running a backgammon
Backgammon
tournament.
Trick track.
Trick track. Towley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
So, yeah, and that's again, like, how do you entertain yourself or lots of selves? Like in this case, they had moved an entire company's flight operations from Beirut to a hotel. And they had to figure out ways to keep people engaged and occupied in ways that were not going to be, let me flip it, in ways that were beneficial versus not.
Well, I presume they weren't responsible for the band that played every night, were they?
No, the hotel brought the band in, keep everybody having a good time.
That was a good time.
Yeah. They were the Italian band that played lots of
Guantanamera,
lot,
Cuban hit.
among others. They also had a lot of classic Frank Sinatra tunes and other covers like standards.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Is
I
that
have a
why
tape
it's
somewhere.
in my blood? It's in my blood from the
100%.
band?
That's 100%. That's why.
Oh my
We
gosh.
became friends with
What?
them. We'd see them
Of
at the
course.
pool. We
It's amazing.
yeah. So having that connection to the arts as well, and seeing these young people who were making a go of being a band, being a hotel band in the United Arab Emirates, house band.
Yeah. Think about all the opportunities out there, everybody, on the things that you could do to pursue your dream.
Yeah, it all, it's just you sometimes just have to have the imagination. And I don't think it was a particularly remunerative thing for them,
They were playing live music every
but
day.
they were playing live music every night. Yeah. And then they
Getting
had
better,
they had a
probably.
belly dancer, a practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, practice. They're playing every night with each other and, making it happen. So yeah, you figure out whether it's going to work or not. It's like the Beatles at the Hamburg club, or what was the club in Hamburg? Yeah. They had a house. They were a house band in Hamburg, Germany in the 60s.
What a way to describe it.
House
I love
band?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
Right.
awesome.
Part of the house band. Part of the house band.
Things would change after we stopped going to Beirut. Dad changed jobs, which meant, and Jiddo came to live with us and Uncle Nabil. And so we didn't get back to Beirut after that.
No. I've not
sad.
been back. Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
But we certainly did drive a lot of this country. And it was usually for weddings.
There were a lot of weddings, and sometimes even, over the border to Canada.
Indeed. It's so funny because I only think of vacation as it pertains to seeing friends and family.
Okay.
And I didn't know that until this episode right now. To me, that's what vacation was. Vacation was going to see someone or something. And that was what it was. It wasn't to relax or to sit on a beach, or I don't know about any of those things. How many times do you get to see your friends and family in a lifetime?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. We did not have this idea of, our parents did not go away from us, the two of them together, without us
until 1992.
Yeah.
It was 1992. And that was the only time. I think it was one and only.
Yeah. With the Puerto Vallarta.
And they won the trip.
Oh, is that right?
I think they won. It was not their choice to go there. It was an opportunity to go there. And yeah, that was not what they did.
That was not what they did. No. They did like to travel, though.
Yeah.
Just not with each other.
But on the beautiful thing about those road trips, Munir, was that they allowed us the opportunity to participate in the entertainment.
I don't recollect that.
Oh. Maybe because you had already found your interests as it pertains to
I remember
music
having a Walkman on my ears. Because by that point in time, I was a surly teenager.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I did read a lot. So luckily, so far in my life, touch wood. Like, I don't get car sick, so I would read and listen to music and not listen to what was going on in the car, if at all possible.
Well, let me
But
tell you, you missed out. You missed
well,
out.
I do remember the games that we would play. So we would play the license plate game.
Sure.
We would play the word game with countries. Like, you start I've done this with my kids. Like,
Or states. Yeah.
you say Alabama, and the next person has to start
Alaska,
with,
and suddenly you're going to get screwed on a.
their A's. Well, then you try to be smart and say Albany, and you get stuck with starting with a Y.
Yeah,
So
Wyoming.
then you know. What? Okay. So then you'd start to learn, like, all the places that start with a Y, like Yakutsk, or just more simply Yorktown.
Mm.
And then from Yorktown, you do Norway. Anyway, we could go on forever.
Anyway, back to the Y, by the way.
I did that on purpose.
Of course you did. Son of a gun. I was more talking about listening to Abbott and Costello.
Oh, okay.
Who's
I
on
do remember.
first?
I do
Or the
remember who's on
albacore
first.
bit.
Don't-
And you want to talk about creativity. Listening to Abbott and Costello tell jokes,
Yes.
really helped you appreciate how to tell a story and where to find humor.
Yes. And repetition. Like, there's only so many times you can repeat, and then you need to have some element of surprise.
Mm. Well,
Yeah, I do remember that tape. I don't remember, when did we get that tape?
I don't know. But in addition, Kenny Rogers' greatest hits, Lionel
Yes.
Richie, Dancing on the
Yes.
Ceiling.
Yes.
I mean, the Beatles, we played the Beatles.
I don't remember playing the Beatles.
Yeah. And I think we'd always skip, there was a really, maybe Taxman, or there was a really repetitive song that Mom just had to blaze through because she was more, my guitar, while my guitar gently weeps, and some of the more melodic songs as opposed to the later.
Not Come Together.
Right. Or Helter Skelter. But
I don't remember having the White Album, actually.
I think it was a greatest hits.
Oh, okay.
Collection or something like that. But anyway, those were formative for me. I really enjoyed, at least in retrospect. Live and in the car, somebody else would have to tell me whether or not I was
singing
enjoying
along.
myself,
but you were saying you were participating. You're in this case, it sounds like you were being.
You could choose the songs. You could choose what do you want to hear next?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember doing that.
Maybe you were in college by that point, and I was the surly teenager.
And maybe that was the way.
But it did frame those long car rides, and you'd listen to the album front to back.
Yeah.
Those long car rides also made you appreciate music and how to curate a playlist, and is directly connected to the mixtapes. At least for me, it's directly connected to our mixtapes.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
How about that?
Did you do a mixtape this week?
Did we do a mixtape?
Did you do a mixtape this week?
I made a mixtape. I made a mixtape this week because I drove from my house to Philadelphia.
You did.
So I made a mixtape for my drive from my house to Philadelphia. And my house to Philadelphia, even though it doesn't look that long, is a long drive, particularly because the I-95 corridor in New York and New Jersey is always full of people. As
I've
is
had
Connecticut.
some great luck. I've had some great luck, I have to be honest, on the Turnpike in the last few years.
Now you're rubbing it in.
Great luck.
Now you're just rubbing it in.
New Jersey's a great place. I don't like the slander.
I like New Jersey too, but I was stuck on the road for a very long time.
Munir, I'd like to read you something that further illustrates the importance of travel, if I may.
Please.
This comes to us from Mark Twain and The Innocents Abroad.
Love Samuel Clemens.
Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. And many of our people need it sorely on these accounts.
Mark Twain gets better and better. I don't know whether it's the older I get or just the appreciation that I have for the turn of phrase, the creativity of the turn of phrase, and the just like he nails it. And he there's no punches pulled. He goes.
He goes.
That's a great quote. Thank you for reading that to me, Rob.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. I'd actually love to hear about your mixtape.
The one for our show or the one for my drive?
You tell me, man.
So I was driving to Philadelphia to go see the Bruce Springsteen of New England, Noah Kahn.
Mm.
You heard it here first, folks. I'm calling Noah Kahn the Bruce Springsteen of New England. There are a lot of haters out there.
Surely not an original thought.
You know, who knows? And so I myself and my children drove down, had got to go see you in
God
the great
bless.
state of New Jersey and listen to some live recordings from last year's tour and listen to some music that reminded us
drive.
of on the drive.
On the drive, yeah.
You were talking about the mixtape.
Yeah,
So
just to
music that reminded us of Philly, bands that are associated with Philly.
they're hot
songs
right now.
that-
Philly's hot.
Philly's been hot. It's just that people ignore it.
Wow.
They do, and they shouldn't.
Okay,
It's a great
that's fair.
place. I love Philly. You heard it here
I just
first.
meant the alt music scene in Philly right now, I guess.
Oh,
is
yeah.
especially hot.
But
I'm not talking
Philadelphia
about
soul.
Like
Philly's been hot for. I mean,
but God, of course. I'm just talking about now.
Huh?
Philadelphia
Okay.
soul, obviously, bro.
yeah, the hip hop scene. Anyway, so yeah, we had like even there's an Elton John song, "Philadelphia Freedom." You know, so I listened to all sorts of Philadelphia. Like, you know, you got to have a little bit of Hall & Oates. You got to have.
I have some disappointing news for the people of Philadelphia who claim Hall & Oates, because I was listening to one of them and it could have been on, I don't know if it was on Questlove Supreme. I think it was on another podcast where they're like, you know, talk about the impact of Philadelphia on your music. And he's like, we wrote our first album there. Every other album after that was either recorded in New York or LA. I was like, dude, you don't need to throw shade on the city you were born and raised in like that, dude. Like, I was so stunned by not rebuke, but it was like, look, that was one album. It's like,
yeah, Daryl's another plain spoken guy.
Oh, maybe then it must have been Daryl. I don't know.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I don't know him, so I'm talking out of
search
school.
that one out. You're right.
I'm speaking out of school, but yeah, no, like it was. They have a song with Train, "Philly Forget Me Not."
Oh, all right.
So maybe they've come around.
Yeah, maybe I'm playing it up too. Who knows? But
anyway, so yeah, it was good.
And the show.
Show was phenomenal. 2 opening acts. One, I forgive me, first opening act from Philadelphia. She put on a solid show to a very empty arena and played like it meant everything. And, you know, sometimes bands have a hard time doing that, but she really showed up, and she was a local performer. And then the other opening act is my kids
It's
are gonna,
okay.
My
It's
kids are
okay.
gonna.
Nobody's.
You're saying it's okay, but my kids are gonna kill me.
At least somebody watches the show.
I watched the show. I just don't know the.
No,
band.
I meant this show.
Oh. Yes.
How would they know to kill you if they didn't watch
the show?
This deep into the show. Unless they just watch
Yes.
for the mixtape.
They might just watch for the next day. That's so Gigi Perez.
Amazing. Wow. Big name.
She is. She's phenomenal. She's got like 2 billion plays on Sailor Song, her most popular song, and reps New Jersey for
Shout out
you.
Jersey.
And phenomenal show. Like
Wow.
she has one new fan, and just really, she brought it. And but Noah Khan is phenomenal. He put on a fantastic show, a lot of energy. The crowd knew the words. A lot of, he could have more sing along than he does. I don't think he realizes quite how rabid the fan base that is in the audience is, but they're, everybody's singing along to all the words, and he's got it going on. Good pacing to the show, like some stuff that's upbeat and then some stuff that's quieter, and good light stage, everything. Good show. Yeah.
I tell you what, I too saw a show this week.
Oh, tell me.
Or recently, I guess is probably a better way to say it. But I had the opportunity to go to the Garden, Madison Square Garden, solo to see Bleachers.
Yay! Jack
Speaking of
Antonoff.
Bruce Springsteen. Jack
Love
Antonoff
Bleachers.
does the best version of a Bruce Springsteen original cover band on the planet. And I love his work. I'm a big Jack Antonoff fan. He puts on a great show. The band is excellent. Everybody knows the words. It was the kind of positive vibe I was looking for. And boy, did it deliver. 2 thumbs
Amazing.
up. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And did I hear correctly that you went to that show solo?
Solo.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I'm going to shout out my friend Joyce Brosterman. Joyce Brosterman. Big shout out to Joyce. She once told me she went to the movies by herself. This is 30 years ago or so. And it may have been right after college because folks were home from college, getting their first jobs, hanging out a lot together. We hung out a lot. And I said, "What'd you do last night?" She's like, "I went to the movies." And then, "Who'd you go with?" She's like, "Nobody. I went by myself." I thought that was the most astonishing thing. "You went to the movies by yourself? That sounds terrible." She's like, it's amazing. You should try it. And I went to the movies by myself at some later date, and she was right. It was really enjoyable. And my buddy Matt Brown, shout out to Matt Brown, he had tickets to see Goose at the Garden recently, and he invited me to go. I couldn't make it. I asked him the next day, "How was the show?" He said it was great. I said, "Who'd you go with?" He said, "I went by myself." And I immediately thought of Joyce Brosterman. And I immediately jumped onto Ticketmaster to see who was in town. Bleachers were in town. I was like, I'm going to this show. And it was exhilarating. Highly recommend.
Well done.
Yeah.
I have, in my day, gone to shows by myself. I used to live by a place called the, what's that?
Oh, I said the Vic.
The Vic Theater. Yeah.
But they didn't really do shows, or?
No, they definitely did shows. Yeah. I saw a lot of shows at the Vic Theater. Okay. I was usually with somebody in Chicago at the Vic Theater. I lived in San Francisco by the bottom of the Hill Club. And they would have a lot of Berkeley punk rolling through there and just all sorts of stuff. But I would make a point of just popping in before going home just to see what was going on. And every once in a while, there was like a beautiful noise coming from in there. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, what's that?" So I caught a band called AFI and, that genre. And then on stage with AFI was Lars from Rancid, if you remember them in the 90s. Yeah. So, You never know
Nice.
what you're going to find. I've done that in Austin, Texas too.
Sounds like travel.
Sounds like travel.
Wow.
Tell me, Rob,
Yeah.
what's on your travel playlist?
For some reason, my mixtapes are getting harder and harder to make.
Oh,
These creative constraints are not ones that I appreciate as it pertains to choosing things that I like.
oh, oh.
I have 5 really strong songs that I'd love to choose, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick to the
Oh, I think we don't
gonna
have
stick
a
to the brief.
guest. You could add some extras.
Thanks. Well, let me start
Yeah.
with this one. America by Neil Diamond. America by Neil Diamond. Why is that? Because we would listen to Neil Diamond in Molly's apartment on our trips to London in the summer. And that song really, really resonated with me. And can I tell you something about this song? Because, I like to research the songs just in case there's some connectivity to our conversation writ
Yes.
large.
Be coming to America.
The producer of that track, Bob Gaudio, is from Bergenfield, New Jersey.
Oh, all right.
Do you know who else is from Bergenfield, New Jersey that I just talked about?
Jack Antonoff?
Jack Antonoff.
Look at me.
Who? Are you kidding me? How about that? So I love that connectivity. That's super cool. The Fugees' Ready or Not from the score.
Yeah.
The score is one of my favorite albums. It would be in a top 10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The summer of 96, I drive home from Ann Arbor to New York.
Okay.
And probably listen to the score the entire 10-hour drive. So Ready or Not is just the song that I chose from the album, but that has a strong connection to me with road trips. So we're going with the score.
Okay.
And then Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Whoa. Why that song, Rob? Because Cousin Waleed would listen to The Wall on our visits to Beirut. And that song totally stuck with me, man. Waleed introduced me to 2 of my favorite things, Pink Floyd and the Lakers. They're not my favorite things today, but in the 80s, who didn't love Pink Floyd and the Lakers?
Is that right?
Yeah,
Well,
he loved
you know
Pat Riley.
You know what's amazing, Rob, about today's mixtape is Waleed shows up in my selection as well.
No shit. Oh,
No
man, we got to
shit.
make sure if he's not watching already.
Yeah.
So those are my 3.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with reverse order in terms of the years they came out, but Life is a Highway by Tom Cochrane. I mean,
classic.
You hate it when I'm on the nose, but I love that song. This is the Down Under by Men at Work, and that is the Waleed shout out because I had bought with my own money that cassette tape, and Waleed was like, "Can I have it? Because you can go home and get
Buy
a new
another
one,
yeah,
but I can't." And so I remember leaving him.
You did.
Oh yeah.
Awesome story, man.
Yeah. So I left him that album, their first album, and their second album, Cargo, which has the breakout song Overkill.
I can envision it. There's a yellow cover, yellow album
that was
cover?
the first album, yep.
Oh, it was. Okay.
1981. Yep.
Is that right? 1981.
1981. Down Under.
Wow.
And then my more recent one, because we are talking about my road trip, American Cars by Noah Kahn.
Well done.
I have another one too, but
yeah, tell me.
Born to Run.
Thunder Road?
No, Born to Run. Because when I would go on road trips, I was often thinking about getting the heck out of Dodge sometimes. Needing a change of scenery for creativity or just personal benefit.
Might I remind you, as a 6-year-old, I packed an overnight bag with my roller skates, a change of underwear, and maybe a toothbrush, and preparation of running away.
You did run away, don't you remember?
No, but mommy asked where I was going to go, and I said,
Yeah.
Auntie Kathy's.
Yes, you were going up the. You went up the street.
Yeah, I'm out of it. She had vanilla wafers too, by the way, in the middle drawer.
Oh,
Much
look at
love
that.
to the Violas. Yep.
Well, Rob, this has been a joy and a pleasure. And I love a road trip, and particularly in the summer. And I love a road trip for creativity because a change of scenery gives you new ideas and new opportunities. And I'm excited to put that into action. Thank you.
Love you. Well said.
Love you too. Bye.